our theater, because we saw it together,
Yeah.
like there were gasps, like, oh. Okay, guys, we are finally doing Doctor Strange spoilers. Now, if you have not seen Doctor Strange, you may want to come back and visit us later.
Yes.
But it had a ridiculous, gigantic opening weekend. So I'm assuming that a lot of you probably found a way to get to the theater and see it. So ding, 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 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're doing it. Alonso, what was the most shocking thing in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness?
Well, nothing was particularly shocking, but I'll say the thing that I was made it a point to not get into in my review was the Illuminati and who makes up the Illuminati, mind you, of an alternate in a different multiverse. I believe it's Earth 838 I've seen it referred to, whereas the rest of the film, the main film is set on Earth 616, I think. I don't know.
Come on, know your Earths.
I don't know who keeps track of this, but anyway, when they go to Earth 838 to get help from the other doctors, from the Doctor Strange there, he's dead, but the Sorcerer Supreme is Baron Mordo, and he is a member of the Illuminati, which is this, it's out of the comics. It's a group of sort of powerful smarty pants who kind of maintain order in the universe. And according to this film, the 838 version of the Illuminati includes Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, played by John Krasinski, the Maria Rambeau Captain Marvel, the Peggy Carter Captain Carter from What If, Black Bolt from everyone's favorite The Inhumans TV series, and of course Charles Xavier, which is the first official sort of appearance of an X-Men character, in the MCU, blah blah blah. So
in our theater, because we saw it together,
yeah,
like there were gasps, like, oh, like the idea of like an X-Men, any kind of X-Men Avengers Venn diagram.
Yeah, well, they've been
right?
teasing it. That was the whole thing in WandaVision when Pietro showed up, and it was other Pietro, but that was a red herring, and haha, fool you. But yeah, this is faux shizzle in another universe. Professor X exists and is part of the Marvel universe. So,
but let me ask you this: does this matter in any way, emotionally, narratively, substantively, beyond functioning as product, beyond like being a cog in this machinery?
Not really. Not really. I mean, it's the first appearance of the X-Men and the first appearance of the Fantastic Four in the MCU. It's partially a flex of we own Fox now, and so we have these properties back under our umbrella. It holds out the prospect that, because Doctor Strange knows who Reed Richards is,
because they're scientists.
He says like, didn't you guys chart in the 60s? It's a joke, but it's also it holds out the possibility that the MCU will now include these two teams. Great, whatever. I mean, if they find an interesting way to do that, sure, no one's against that. But is it inherently interesting in and of itself? Not really. It's just look how cool you can do that now when you couldn't do it before. So
a thing that we talked about in our spoiler-free review, which I'd like to get into a little bit here, is Wanda's whole motivation and why I talked about you've got to know WandaVision for a lot of this stuff to resonate, or at the very least make sense, right? Yeah. This whole quest she's going on to find her kids, the kids, which, as Nick and I discussed in our Marvel Monday episode, like may or may not be actually real. They're like the manifestations of her magical ability. Right. Are they actually people? Are they just conjurings in the ether?
Well, WandaVision makes it pretty clear that they're not.
Right.
But this movie makes it clear that in some universes they do really exist.
Okay.
And I had to go back and I reread the Wikipedia page summary of the final episode of WandaVision, which ends with her looking at the Darkhold and hearing the boys' voices crying out to her from somewhere else. So for all the people who are like, oh, this totally undoes WandaVision, it's like, no, she ends WandaVision with the Darkhold. Like, it's clear that no good is going to come of that, and it ends with her like wanting to like find her children. So that part of it ties in perfectly.
I don't think it undoes WandaVision at all. It's just like, here's what she's doing. She created a fake 50s suburban town. Now she's created a fake apple orchard.
Basically,
and that's a peaceful place for her to live now.
And she wants to find her fake family, which is somewhere else is not fake,
So she's delusional.
Yes.
But that kind of brings me to something else that I meant to talk about in my talk with Nicholas, which is the possibility of redemption or at least reinvention within the multiverse. Like, are you capable of finding new versions of yourself within each multiverse, or are you doomed to be the same person every time? Like Doctor Strange evolves a bit, and the various versions of Doctor Strange, especially in that one really dark, like haunted house with the swirling clouds,
the everything bagel universe.
It's so it's so beautiful and haunting. But like he's a different guy there. Like, do you feel like this movie suggests you can change, or does it say you're stuck being who you are no matter what?
I mean, it depends. If I'm just going on this movie, hard to say. I think in the comics you get such a variety of universes where, like, I know, for example, in the DC universe, pre-crisis, let's say, there was a whole planet where, like, Alexander Luthor is a hero, and people who are traditionally villains on our Earth are heroes, whereas the Justice League of that world are all villains. So, I think every possibility of human existence is on the table, at least in the comics. One of my beefs with this movie is in the first movie, he has an arc and he changes and he evolves as a person. And here, the only lessons he seems to learn is basically by watching his counterparts die and then going, okay, well, don't do that then.
So he evolves somewhat too, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it is a hopeful notion, even though this is like a deliriously, giddily, bloody, gory movie. I mean, as much as you can be in a PG-13. It's dark, and it's dark, it's wild, but like
I think
that's
gory
hopeful.
has been, but the goriness has been overstated in some corners. Like, but why didn't this get an R rating? Like, are you kidding me? This movie is
It's suggested, like the way that Captain Marvel. Is it Captain Marvel? No. Who gets killed?
No, it's Captain Carter.
Who gets sliced? Peggy gets sliced in half with her own shield. Like, that's pretty gnarly, but you don't see the slicing.
Exactly.
It's implied.
Yes.
I mean, episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Gorier
with the blood dripping off of the shield. So
and then they went back and took that out anyway.
I think it tiptoes up to the edge of R as far as you can go and still be a legit Sam Raimi movie. Let's talk about the end credit scenes, because there are 2 of them.
Yes. So in the first one, so the movie ends with Doctor Strange gaining a third eye from having done a dream walk and reanimating the corpse of one of his fellow Doctor Stranges, and that's the shock ending, like, oh no, is this a bad thing? But then we get the first of the shawarmas where Clea, who is a major character in the comics, now being played by Charlize Theron, pops up and takes him on another universe hop, and he opens up his third eye like, haha, look at this cool new accessory I have. So it's like, way to undo your cliffhanger ending if clearly it doesn't mean anything, or it's not like a bad thing.
It's a good thing. It's another power, right? He's already a very powerful guy. This is a whole new power. So
that's the implication.
Now Charlize is in the Fast and Furious universe and the MCU. What can't she do? Yeah, I totally dug zombified Doctor Strange. That was full on Sam Raimi. That was a blast. And there's a moment where like the hand shoots up from the ground. I mean, those are fun little Easter egg things. And of course, Bruce Campbell.
Well, yes, the second shawarma people are getting tiffy about for some reason, but it's a goofy joke payoff. That's because it's Bruce Campbell and it's Sam Raimi. They are jokey people, So
it's essentially the end of Ferris Bueller. It's Bruce Campbell saying, "Go home,
go home." Yeah. What else do you need? Somebody, Clint Worthington, I think, said on Twitter something about how like he was annoyed that the plot of Doctor Strange winds up being like, Book turns someone evil, and then Dan McCoy from the Flophouse responded, "That's the plot of the Evil Dead movies, and if you have a problem with that, I'm gonna have to ask you to step outside."
There are lots of those are some things that we didn't want to mention in the regular review, all the little fun Sam Raimi thingies, so they are all over the place. This is fun, but again, like the more I thought about it, the less I liked it, but I had a good time while I was doing it.
The further away from it I get, the more kind of holes I can pick into this. But also, if you're going to promise me a multiverse of madness, didn't you think we were going to go to more multiverses, frankly.
I mean, there is that cool sequence where they're he and America Chavez are like each other and passing through all of them.
Tumble through like 20 or 30 of them, which is
a cool blast
thing. But I thought that's what you're selling me with that title. I'm expecting a whole movie of like jumping around from place to place and frankly, everything everywhere. Like I was expecting that many multiverses.
There are so many Evelyns, but there's only 2 Doctor Stranges.
Apparently, and neither of them have hot dog fingers.
Oh, okay. Maybe next time, maybe in the 3rd one. Anyway, let us know what you guys thought now that you've seen it and we've had this conversation. We want to hear all your spoilery thoughts, so share them with us.